You know, Don and I have got to travel around the country quite a bit. We kind of wish we could stay out west, but we end up back in some real strange places. In fact, we spent last year a whole month in New York City. Okay, let's see if we can't get this right, folks. Try it again here. Don and I spent a whole month in New York City.
New York City!
I love it when they do that. Yeah. We did. I mean, I'm not kidding about that. We really did. We played on the 65th floor of the Rockefeller Center.
Yes, sir. 65 floors above America. I mean to tell you what.
It was a long ways back to America, too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Woody Guthrie was up there one time back in the 1940s, and he swore that every night he looked out that window, and he could see John D. Rockefeller flying by right there in front of that rainbow room. That's right.
They eat strange, too. They think it's real fancy grub. I've been hearing about this. What was that? I always forget the name of that. What did they come and serve us that? Remember that stuff then?
Sushi.
Sushi. Did you ever taste sushi? I cannot believe it. I mean, they made a great big deal of it. It was horrible.
I tried to tell you, Waddy, you don't eat it. I said, back home in Texas, we call it bait.
Yeah, I wish I'd have believed you.
You had an awful hard time with that.
And they talk funny out there. They don't have breakfast, dinner, and supper like all of us Westerners do. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Nobody told me that. And they invited me out to dinner one time. I showed up at noon, and they never showed up till almost 7 o'clock that evening. Another day, Dawn and I were supposed to go up there, and we'd met a fellow that had a whole bunch of Phippen and Charlie Russell paintings and stuff. He's going to take us up in this gallery and show it to us. And we were supposed to meet and eat. It was, kind of midday, and I was just a little bit late, and I go running. It's one of them deals right off the street, and I went running up the stairs there, and I walked in, and I see Don, the fella, sitting over at the table there, so I see the maitre d' coming at me, and I said, oh, that's all right, my friend's already here, I'll just go on, and I started walking. He said, excuse me, sir, you can't go in there. I said, why? He says, well, you ain't got a tie on. I said, I do too. He says, no, sir, I mean a real tie. And I said, well, I don't have a real tie. Can you lend me one? And he said, well, no, sir, we don't lend ties. And I said, well, my pard's in there. And he says, I'm sorry, sir, that's the rules of the restaurant. So I went down the pickup and started rummaging through the back of the pickup like I'm going to find a tie in the back of the pickup. But I did find a set of jumper cables. Now, the maitre d' didn't look all that tough anyway, and I figured, well, I'm going to put these on and go back, and I am going to punch him out if I have to. I went walking back up there with about a half a mat on, and I started in there, and I guess he's about half human because he kind of grinned at me and said, okay, he says, I'm going to let you in this time, but don't you start anything.
I can't believe that. How do you get away with these awful stories?
But we come back with a song, and it's really one of my very favorite songs because this is one of the songs in the show where I'm part of the duet.
You quit calling it singing, didn't you? Oh, mercy.
I'm still proud.
We do have to thank our very good friend Tom Paxton for writing this song. You ready, Annie? Well, as we went out one evening down Columbus Avenue, all the sushi bars were shuttered and the dark cantina too. We stood there in the darkness as an empty cab rolled by, when all at once we heard the sound of yuppies in the sky. Now they all came down Columbus for as far as we could see, and the men were wearing polo and the women wore Esprit. And each yuppie had a Walkman, and as each one passed us by, we saw their sad expressions and we heard their mournful cry. Condos for sale, condos to buy, yuppies yuppies in the sky. Each one was wearing running shoes upon the ghostly deck, and each one had a cotton sweater wrapped around the neck. They all held out their credit cards and tried in vain to buy, but all the stores were shuttered to the yuppies in the sky. You've seen them on commercials, sailing boats and playing ball, pouring beer for one another. Corona, usually.
With a little lime in it, you know how they do.
Crying, why not have it all? Then we heard the yuppies crying as they vanished from our view. Crying, won't someone please buy my BMW? Condos for sale, condos to buy, yuppies in the sky.
This is the sad part.
We got an awful lot of mileage out of this song. All the salad bars were empty. And the quiche Lorraine was gone. We heard the yuppies crying as they vanished in the dawn, calling brand names to each other as they passed from our view. They'll be networking forever down Columbus Avenue. Condos for sale, condos to buy, yuppies in the sky. Yuppie-tie-yi-yi, yuppie-tie-yi-yi.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
What's the problem?
What are you doing?
I had to save us, man. I had to make a cowboy. We've done an awful lot of things the way we... We just had to make a little cowboy song out of it, you know what I mean? It sort of is anyway, though, isn't it? Yuppies in the sky. Thank you very much.